Okay, so in our source app and app-routing module file, this was generated when we added the routing syntax, or the flag rather, when we started the project with the CLI. All right, so this is really straightforward. The only thing we have to worry about is this object here contained within this array right here. And for each path that we want, we designate a component and we separate them here with commas. So the first one is going to be for a home component. So the first thing we need to do is import it up at the top. So import home component, and that's the name, by the way, if you checked inside of the home folder. And from /home and home.component.ts. Actually, we don't have to put the TS file there. Now we're going to do the same thing for the FAC component. So this changes here to FAC. And this right here is simply FAC and FAC. There we go. All right, so for this default path, we're going to leave the path there just empty. And we're going to get rid of this children property, and we're going to change this here to home component, or rather component, home component. All right, and then after that, we're going to put a comma. And we also have one for our FAC page. Okay, so for this, it's just simply going to be FAC. And this will be FAC component. There, simple enough. So now let's go ahead and focus on the app component in the HTML file for our template. Now, let me go ahead and remove that. And notice we have a router outlet down here. All right, so this is where our home component and our FAC component will be placed inside. So up here will be the header, and down here will be the footer. All right, so if we take a look at the result in the browser, make sure ng serve is being run in the console, we'll see that we have our home works. This is the home component, and this works because we set it up in the app routing file. And then if we go to /FAC, we'll see it says FAC works. All right, great. So let's continue on, and let's go ahead and let's go and integrate our Balma CSS framework. So back at our console, we're going to run npm install Balma and save it. All right, so once that is installed, we'll go back here, and we're going to go into a file called angularcli.json. All right, so notice we have a property here called styles, and by default it has it set at styles.sass, which is just right down in here, right there. Just before that is when we want to load, or where we want to load, our Balma Sass file. So just above that, go ahead and type in this right here. So node modules balma.sass. All right, so you could save that. Now we're also going to create an mq.sass file that's sitting right next, that will sit in the same folder as our styles.sass. So I'm going to create that real quick, mq.sass. And I'm simply going to paste in what we were pasting in before. We created this same file for Vue and React. And for Vue, because that was the first framework or library that we're covering of the three, I did, pretty much when it comes to the whole HTML and CSS process, I did kind of write this out by hand. Although I don't think I did this file, but all the other CSS and all that is all covered in Vue, the Vue section of this course, just for your reference if you wanted to see that instead of me just pasting this in. By the way, all the project files are here, so you can paste this in as well. You don't have to sit there and type all this out manually. But this is just for some variables here that are defined that we can have access to our custom CSS that we will write, and then some mixins here for responsive CSS. All right, so we'll save that as well. So next, let's go ahead and focus on, real quickly, the header portion of our app component.